This is the moment, this is the day, this is the moment when I know I'm on my way.
Good morning. This is Lee Kaplanian, and you're listening to Finding the Gifts. I'm here on Tuesdays from 9:30 to 10, and the premise is that every difficult situation has a gift for you to discover, and my guests and I help you find different ways to create your own solution to finding your gifts in your difficult situations. My website is findingthegiftshow.com. My email is info@findingthegiftshow.com. And if you have a question, a comment, a suggestion, you're welcome to call at 888-298-5569 and locally 373-5527. My blog is giftofra.com. My Facebook that I've got working again is Finding the Gifts. And we're in our last week or so of the survey for KKNW.
That's right. You got to get in now and have a chance to win up to $200 in gift certificates at the Melting Pot. So that's a lot of cheese and chocolate you can get under your on your plate, I should say.
On your plate or inside.
Wherever you want it. Exactly. And, of course, again, the survey, it just helps us out as a station, bring you better programming. And if you visit 1150kknw.com, it's right there on the main page, or just type in, KKNW survey 2017 or however, which order. The electronics and computers will figure that out these days. So until then, just a couple questions and away you go.
Yeah, and if you don't want to put your name on it, that's fine.
Yep, but then you're not going to be able to get your winnings. So
that's true.
You just tell me how you want to play that one. I'd leave it if I were you.
I think, maybe nobody will do it, and so then you and I can go out.
Hey, I'm down.
Okay,
all right.
Sounds
up
good.
Up for grabs.
But we want to know what you think.
Yes.
What you want. Are we doing the kinds of shows you want, the kinds of subjects? Are we missing something that you're really interested in? And that's the whole point. Certainly, I'd like you to vote for my show. Wouldn't every host? But the most important is to find out what you want to hear, what we're doing right, what we could change, how we could change it, that sort of thing. So please get your survey in so that we can find out, because it does make a difference, because changes are made because of what you say. So we hope you'll do that. And my guest today is Kathy Paauw. She's been the owner of Powerfully Organized for 22 years. And I met her through Stacia Kennedy, one of my guests, about 4 or 5 weeks ago. And she's helped Stacia balance her family and work to make sure she can be fully there every day. Now, Kathy is a life architect. She designs blueprints to help her clients live a purposeful and productive life, both personally and professionally. She provides clients with the internal and external tools needed to organize their entire life so their environment and lifestyle reflect their values. And Kathy has several valuable free resources on her website at orgcoach.net and under the resources tab. And specifically, she offers 4 free online webinars designed to help you better organize your schedule, space, and mind. Kathy also writes a popular weekly blog provided to help you create your ideal blueprint for a purposeful and productive life. You can read past blog posts and subscribe to be notified of future posts by visiting Resources tab on her site, orgcoach.net. And if you want an easy way to remember her site, you can also visit declutteryourlife.com, and it'll take you to the same site. Good morning, Kathy.
Good morning, Lee.
Well, it's a delight to be here. Now, you have an offer for the audience, so will you tell us about that?
I will, yes. And it might make more sense after we've had our conversation, but if your life isn't what you want it to be right now, whether that's due to a cluttered schedule, disorganized space, or disempowering thoughts that hold you back, you do have a choice. We're going to talk about choice today. You can choose to create new surroundings, new mindset, and a new life. And when you realize that you have a choice, you give yourself the power to create change and to direct your life. And so I invite you, if you want some help with that, to schedule a no-cost discovery call with me. And during that time, we'll discuss the next steps that you can take to create your blueprint for a purposeful and productive life.
Oh, that's great. We'll talk about it at the end of the show also, just to remind people. Now, we had a really nice phone conversation, and you were telling me that you use a model in your coaching work called the 9 environments of you. Can you tell us what those 9 environments are?
Yes, and I also want to give credit to the person who created it. This model was originally created by the late Thomas Leonard, who is considered by many to be the founder of the coaching profession. So the 9 environments model provides an outstanding tool that enables you to identify where your life may be out of balance or where your level of satisfaction is low. And once you're aware of this, then you can upgrade your environments in a way that will support the ultimate lifestyle that you desire. And this is done by choosing specific action steps that you can take to increase your level of satisfaction in each of these areas of your life. So to give you an idea of how the 9 environments work, first of all, when all of your environments are in balance, you'll experience synchronicity. Remarkable coincidences will happen in your life as things fall into place. The end result is that you will attract what you desire with much greater ease. So this 9 environments is usually shared on a graphic that looks like a wheel. And if you're a visual person, you might want to just draw a really big circle on a piece of paper and then make 8 pie wedges in it. And then there's a small circle in the middle. And so the circle in the middle is the first environment, and it represents what we call your mimetics. The mimetics are the lens through which you view the world. It includes your beliefs, values, ideas, thoughts, and the cultural norms that you may have been raised with. You view the other 8 environments, those 8 pie wedges, through this lens. So it affects everything, and I do want to spend more time on mimetics after I just briefly go through the other 8. The second environment is your body, which represents your physical appearance, your health, and your energy. The third environment is self, which includes your personality, temperament, character, gifts, talents, and strengths. The fourth environment is your spiritual life, which includes your deep connections, and it may or may not be religious in nature. The fifth environment is your relationship, which includes family, close friends, and colleagues. The sixth environment is your network, which represents the greater community, strategic partners, customers, professional connections, and your broader social network. The seventh environment is financial, which represents income, expenses, investments, and things like budgeting. The eighth environment is physical, which represents your home, your office, car, or wherever you spend time. It also includes things like sound, lighting, furnishings, and tangible objects. And the ninth environment is nature, which represents the outdoors, beauty, seasons, and the cycle of life. So typically, I go through each of these 9 environments with someone, and I ask them to rate on a scale of 0 to 100 their level of satisfaction with their relationship with each environment. And I use the word relationship because, well, I'll just give an example. someone may have very little money. Financial is one of the 9 environments. So let's say we're looking at financial. Someone may have very little money, but have a very high satisfaction with their relationship with money in their life. Or they could be independently wealthy and have a very low level of satisfaction with their relationship with money. So it's not about how much of something someone has, but about their level of satisfaction with their relationship with each of these parts of their life. So I hope that gives a quick overview of the 9 environments.
Yes, that's great, because it's interesting that you say our relationship with each environment.
Yes.
That's kind of an interesting way of looking at it. Now, you were talking about the one in the middle, which you called mimetics. Mm-hmm. So will you talk more about that?
Well, your mimetics, as I mentioned, are the lens through which you view everything. For some people, they call it a paradigm. And we can have pretty big paradigm shifts in our lives when we start viewing things in a different way. One of my favorite tools comes from Jack Canfield, who is my mentor. And Jack wrote a book called The Success Principles. And in The Success Principles, actually I learned this from many years ago. Jack had a cassette series called How to Build High Self-Esteem. And this is where I first learned this concept I'm about to share. It's a simple equation. E plus R equals O. E is an event that happens in your life. And we don't have control over what happens in our lives sometimes. Things just happen. R is your response to that event. And I didn't say reaction. Some people translate R as reaction. There's a big difference between a reaction and a response. Okay? So response, E plus R, event plus response equals outcome. When something happens in your life, you can have many different responses to what happens. And your R, or your response, has a huge effect on the outcome. And this is part of the mimetics. It's one part of it, but I think it's a huge part of it because there's so many people that live what I call a victim life. Oh, this and that and the other thing happened to me, and there's a black cloud following me, and I have no control over my life. It's not true. Bad things may have happened to you, and you have a choice about how you respond to those things, and how you respond will have a huge effect on your outcome.
That is, I like that. When we come back, we'll take a short break. You're listening to Lee Kaplanian. This is Finding the Gifts. My guest is Kathy Paauw, and we'll come back and talk more about this.
This is the moment, this is the day, this is the moment when I know.
Successful advertising begins with building the right message, getting it out to the right audience, and doing so the right number of times. Let Finding the Gifts help you advertise your business more effectively. By aligning your message with the positive programming of Finding the Gifts, you will be sure you're reaching the right audience. Advertising during this program is also affordable, so you'll be able to air enough commercials to make a difference. At no extra charge to you, by advertising on Finding the Gifts, you will receive help crafting a great message. The right message, the right audience, the right number of times. All 3 requirements covered on Finding the Gifts. Learn more about how to get started with your advertisement by calling 206-718-4229. That's 206-718-4229. Finding the Gifts, your search for the effective advertising is over. Call 206-718-4229 today.
Hi, this is Eric Ryder, Operations Manager for Alternative Talk 1150. We value your opinion and we invite you to visit 1150kknw.com to fill out the 2017 KKNW Listener Survey. Your responses help us shape KKNW to your listening needs. And as an added incentive, when you fill out the survey, you'll have a chance to win a great prize. Complete contest details and your opportunity to help us shape the station can be found at 1150kknw.com. So log on now.
Life can be a struggle. Medical and mental issues can take a toll on you. Lee Kaplanian, host of Finding the Gifts, Tuesdays from 9:30 to 10, wants you to know that happiness is a search in progress, and you just need the tools and the right attitude to find your gifts. Lee has a PhD in life experience, and together with her fascinating hosts, she wants to help you. So tune in for Finding the Gifts, Tuesdays from 9:30 to 10. No matter how difficult your situation, there is a gift waiting for you to discover.
Ready to shake things up? Try Alternative Talk 1150.
The play is here and now today. This is the moment.
Welcome back to Finding the Gifts. I'm your host, Lee Kaplanian. And my guest today is Kathy Paauw, a life architect at orgcoach.net. And we're talking about the 9 environments and, more importantly, the first one, the memetics, the one that's the center of this pie-shaped circle. So, and we just talked about event plus response equals outcome. So, you want to talk more about that?
Well, I found this to be a powerful equation in my life, and I've had evidence of how it works many times over. I'll give one example. I grew up in a family that my parents were both professionals and had educations, and it was assumed that we would all go to college. There were 3 of us. And just before it was time for me to go off to college, my parents got a divorce, and there was a bankruptcy, and there was no money for college. And my brother and sister decided, well, I guess I can't go to college. And I decided, well, I guess I'm going to have to figure out a different way to pay for it. That's the response to the event. The event was there was a bankruptcy. There was no money that we thought would be there. And the change, there were 2 people that chose one response and had one outcome, and I chose a different response and had a different outcome. So that's just one of many examples I could give. But it's really about how you look at things. And I love Wayne Dyer says, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And I think that this E plus R equals O equation ties in with that, because it's all about your response, and you control your own thoughts. You choose your thoughts. And so my brother and sister's thoughts were, I can't afford to go to college. My thoughts were, I'm going to have to figure out a different way to pay for it.
And so obviously you did.
I did, and I had a different outcome. I went to a private college. I put myself through college and figured out how to make that happen, and graduated in 4 years with honors. So it wasn't easy. I worked a lot of jobs during college and got scholarship assistance, got guaranteed student loans, national direct student loans, you name it, and spent 10 years after graduating paying that off. But I did it.
That must have had quite a feeling of accomplishment.
Yes, it did. And I could have just as easily had a different response to the events that were going on in our lives at the time, but I chose different.
So what other examples would you say illustrate this well for, either from your life or from a client's life, that really shows it well?
Well, I think that let's think about physical limitations. People have. I know you've lived with rheumatoid arthritis, and there are some certain physical limitations that can come with that, and a lot of pain. And there are many possibilities when you choose different thoughts about what am I going to focus on? Am I going to focus on the pain? Am I going to focus on what I can't do? Or am I going to focus on what I can do? And that has a huge effect on your outcome. And there are some people who believe that it's possible to change some DNA with thoughts too. So that gets into a whole other realm. But even if none of the DNA were to change, just the looking at possibilities. We look at, I wish I could remember the name of the guy. He was born with no arms and no legs. And his first name is Nick, and I can't remember his last name, but he is the most amazing. If you look him up on No Arms, No Legs, Nick, on Google, you'll find all sorts of things on him. And he goes around and does motivational talks to groups, high school groups, you name it, about possibilities. And boy, I can't, I'm sure there are worse things than being born with no arms and no legs, but not a whole lot. You know, it's amazing to me to think about what he's done in his life.
Oh, there's I can't remember his name, just recently died. Did he have ALS?
Mm-hmm.
And he was handing out donuts.
Yep.
And so, which made everybody happy. But he didn't want to just sit there and do nothing and wait for the end. And I think that's part of learning to see things in a different way. It's changing perspective, isn't it?
Yep, it comes back to that Wayne Dyer quote. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Mm-hmm. And if you have a mindset, a particular mindset, I always think of Dr. Phil, who says, and how's that working for you? Because I had a victim mentality for a long time, and it wasn't working for me. I had to find something new. And that, that's not easy, and I would do things. I did volunteer work and sort of worked around the RA. And then I had bad cases of opomiosis. I'm the worst off person in the world. Nobody has it as badly as I do. And then to have somebody say, oh, well, so-and-so is worse off, just makes me cranky. Because that's not a response. It's dismissing me.
Exactly.
And so, well, since you're not as bad as so-and-so, then you have no right to be upset. And, it's a different way of looking at it, and not something that I would say to anybody else myself. But it also makes me realize that there are people who have things that are much more difficult. And I think, well, gee, I don't have all that much to worry about, just rheumatoid arthritis. So I've been working on my attitude and my perspective. And it's not easy if you've been looking at things the same way for a long time.
And it's possible. It's possible to change the way you look at things.
Absolutely. So we talked about your offer at the beginning. So would you like we'll talk about it again, and especially since we've had a chance to talk a little bit about the 9 environments and the mimetics. I'm assuming that you would be helping them with their 9 environments with a discovery call.
Well, the discovery call is to look at what your vision is for the future, what you want, what your obstacles are to making that happen, and what the next steps are to move you from where you are to where you want to be. And looking at using the 9 environments model is a wonderful way to look at your whole life, because even if you're just focused on your business, your environments affect everything. Wherever you go, there you are. So it's really important to look at all environments in your life and to see what needs to be upgraded. And so I can help people with that.
So that would be at orgcoach, orgcoach.net under resources.
Well, actually, the Discovery Call option is on the main page. So you can just click on the link there and schedule a time to meet with me by phone.
Well, thank you so much, Kathy, for spending the last half hour with us. And I hope that people will find a way to check in with you and do the Discovery Call to help them start looking at their situation differently.
Well, thank you for having me, Lee. I appreciate it.
Okay. Well, we have sunshine today. The fog finally lifted. And so it's a beautiful day, a little chilly, but any day in Seattle is a great day. So go out and enjoy the day. It's a gift.
When all the dreaming, scheming, and screaming become one, this is the day.